So, this is the next day after recording my previous video. I'm just out of the shower, so you will excuse my hair that will continue to dry out as I film. And today we are talking about all the things that I need after breaking both of my wrists. So hello everyone, welcome back to my very small place on the internet where I talk about my knitting life, my knitting adventures, and I have had quite a few recently. My name is Isabelle. I am in France, in Normandy, in a gloomy and very hot and damp Normandy today. And as I said, I'm just out of the shower. I don't like to blow dry my hair, so if you will excuse me, I will be filming with my damp hair that will dry out as I'm recording. So today it's going to be a video about all the knittings that I have finished since I broke both of my wrists. I will link the video that I made yesterday about this particular adventure, and I did started to knit as soon as I could, and it was something around 3 weeks after surgery. So I did finish some things that I had started, but I made new things, including what I am wearing, because I was in need of easy movements. My head was ready for more complicated designs, but my hands and my wrists were not, because as I showed you yesterday, my left hand, which is this one, I have, I can't turn more than that. Even though with my right hand I haven't gained back full mobility, but I can face my face with my hand. And I am limited in my bending movements in all directions. So I was in need of easy knits on my hands. So my socks are left aside. Problem is, small circumferences are too tight on my hands and they are waiting. And I did take good note of all of the recommendations you made just previously about my colorwork knitting on socks and all the problems I had. This will wait for better days. So if that is of any interest to you after that very long introduction, please stay tuned. So first things first, as per usual, what am I wearing? I am wearing a t-shirt that I knit since I broke my wrists. I knitted in a month, I think, between May 19th and June 18th. Yes, within a month. And I broke my wrists on May 2nd or 3rd or something like that. So you see, it took me 17 days before going back to knitting. And I did, at the time, try to knit on my current works in progress, but most of them were too difficult on my hand. I had already bought the yarn. I did not talk about it on camera in my yarn mindful buy project. I have a video that I wanted to make when I broke my wrists. So this will be a video for a later day. And I did knit it with a new yarn to me, which is Mayo Tweed Supreme. And as you can see, it's a light fingering yarn. It is 350 meters per 50 grams. So you see, it's a very light fingering yarn. I liked a lot the little tweedy bits here on the very light fingering merino, and it's a newly to me French yarn. It's a newer brand, maybe a year or two ago, maybe a year only. And they manufacture yarn in France from yarn that is produced in South America, I think. A bit like Filcolana, as far as the yarn, I mean. So I had 5 skeins and I used in my t-shirt a bit over 3.5 skeins. So you see, I knitted a bit oversized on 3mm needles and 24 stitches for my gauge, if I recall correctly, and did I write it down here? 26 stitches for my gauge. And I wanted a pure stockinette project, easy on my hands, and I had already thought about a raglan t-shirt for this yarn, and I'm not sure you can see it, and I will stand up so that you can see a bit better. I made, maybe on that side, very wide raglan lines. I liked it. This is the only particular thing that I did. I did all my math and calculations for my gauge. 3mm needles, it takes a long time to knit a full garment. And anyway, I'm very happy. I'm wearing it today, even though it's a bit too warm for it, but I do enjoy it. So let's see how it goes for at least the period of time I'm recording. So I will show the t-shirt to you as I'm standing up now. Okay, so you may see the wide raglan lines that I made here. I did the calculations for the neckline, how many stitches I have to cast on, how many stitches I want to end up around my bust. I wanted a bit boxy type of fitting. Shorter sleeves, I did maybe a few rows, a few diminutions, a few, and just that's it. I made short rows at the top of the sweater. I did not make any short rows in the back. So you may see here also the wide raglan. And I do not recall if I did make short rows at the bottom of the sweater. I don't think so. And I decided on not splitting the sides, and I'm sitting on the table, so we'll see how it goes. And what I did, maybe I will show you this way because my left hand is not very easy on me. What I did is that the wide raglan, I'm following it, it's up to here, and I continued on the side with 2 purl stitches on the side to show the sides, both in the front and in the back. So this is a very small detail. You may see it here. So you have the raglan line that is quite wide. The middle of the sweater on the side is about at the middle of in between these 2 stitches. And I made these 2 stitches going down because sometimes fine gauge stockinette has a tendency to maybe not being very straight, and it helps having the garment straight. I really like it, and I really was looking for something a bit more boxy. And this very fine merino, even though it's a summer yarn, I have to tell you, my friends, I think it's more of an intermediate season because it's quite warm. So I called this sweater my self-drafted tee made for healing. And it was an easy way for me to be knitting on something that was not hard on my hand, something that was easy to make. I did take the time to make all the calculations because I could not knit. So before I could knit, I had made all of my preparation. I did not follow everything. At some point, I stopped the increases because I thought it was long enough and wide enough. Anyway, I took the time to make my own thing on paper before I started to knit. And then I made it. I made it in a month, and this is almost anything I did knit on during that period of time. Okay, next I'm going to talk about my finished object. I have 4, including that one, so there are 3 additional ones. I'm going to do it by the order where I had started the project. So the first one is my Sauvabelin sweater. Sauvabelin was a present by one of the lovely youths. I'm not going to wear it. I'll take pictures with me wearing it at some other time because it's knit with, it's a winter sweater. It's knit with rare Swiss wool. I absolutely love this kind of color on natural wool. It's a very woolly wool. It's very soft. It's perfect. So you spoiled me. You gave me both the yarn for the sweater and the pattern. I absolutely love also that, I'm not sure, I can't see it. Love that cable in the front, the details in the front. I made a mistake. I have already talked about it. I made a mistake at the beginning of the sweater. I sort of miscalculated my rows or something. So you see that this cable here is not complete. But when I'm wearing it, it doesn't really matter. I had thought to take a hanger. Hang in there. So I have seen other people do that, so maybe you can see better how the sweater is. So this is a raglan sweater. I have less than a ball left of what you had given me. I will make either a scarf or a hat. Long sleeves. So when I broke both of my wrists, so there are short rows and everything. I did follow the pattern as per the book, almost. I think I was almost done on both of the sleeves. I just had the ribbing to make on both of them. Or at least as far as I recall, when I picked it up, both sleeves were done. I don't think I did knit on the sleeves with my broken wrists. So it was one of the last ones that I could finish because I thought small circumference on DP ends, I'm going to save that for a later day, and I could work on both of the sleeves because it was a very short knit. I have to say, after talking with you, you said that you were knitting your sleeves magic loop. You know that I don't like my magic loop very much, and I did end up finishing the sleeves on magic loop because the problem is that DP ends are too tight on my hands, and I had tried and I had said, okay, I'm just gonna wait to finish this up. Magic loop is better. Only the stupid ones don't change their mind. I'm not sure you have a saying like that in English. But I did change my mind on magic loop, maybe for sleeves, and I did not experiment any ladder in my sleeves. Of course, the ribbing is just helping that. And I love, this sweater is full of very, very, very pleasant details. You have that at the ribbing everywhere, on the collar, on the bottom of the sweater, and the cables are absolutely exquisite. You are saying, the one of you said that you've made 2 of them and it's one of your most worn sweaters, and I do understand that, and I do understand why. Took me a time to block it in a way. I just washed it and let it dry out flat. I did not want to pin it down because I wanted the cable to just express themselves and show as much as they could. And it took me a longer time to block because squishing out the water of a garment was not easy. So I just waited to block it or to wash it, that my hands were feeling better. I almost did not take out any water, and I placed it on the spin cycle in my machine, 400 rotation per minute. I'm not sure what the unit is in your own country. And it did in two separate sets of spinning. I could take most of the water out, and it just let it dry flat after that. And so yes, I'm extremely happy with that sweater, and it's gonna be one that I will be enjoying to wear once we move to a cooler weather. And of course, I forgot to say, Sauvabelin is by Jessica Gore, and it's from a book by Making Stories. The pattern is available on its own, and you can have it also in the book. So yes, I just forgot to say that, and I'm sure I did write it down if I can manage to edit the video. Okay, next is a project. I don't think I have even talked about it on camera. Maybe I have, maybe not, I do not recall, but at least I was sure I wanted the next video I was going to be recording just after my accident was the one I wanted to talk about, Rebel by Anchor Strict, because we had decided with one of you to make a little private knit along and maybe offer to some of you to follow along with that pattern, either here on the YouTube comments or on a thread on Ravelry where you can post your pictures and we can talk about the pattern and everything. But in between, just after I had started the Rebel cardigan, and I did start it on April 20th, and I finished it on June 8th. So it's been a little while now. I was going to talk about everything, and I was going to show it to you. I'm not sure, I do recall where I was when I broke my wrists. I'm almost certain I was, if I had not moved to the separation for the sleeves, I was almost there. And at least I was, after all of the complicated, quote unquote, short rows and stuff like that. I'm knitting it with the IRR. I will write down below what does IRR means, from Nutiden, and this was a present also by one of you. This is some kind of a strawberry puree type of color with a bit of red. So it's red with a strawberry, and I wanted to mix it or to knit it with some kind of a lace or very light fingering yarn, because I think I prefer knitted and knit with some mohair or other kind of lace weight yarn. Anyway, as I had never knit with Holzgarn Titicaca, at first I was looking for knitting for olive mohair, but there was no matching color because this one is very raspberry, and I did not want to pair it with a red mohair because I was afraid to lose the color. So I looked for another very fine gauge yarn to pair it with the Nutiden, and I settled on Titicaca by Holzgarn Camellia. It's 400 meters per 50 grams, so it's a very, very lightweight, light fingering and almost lace weight. I haven't checked how it's referred to elsewhere. And you see, it's a bit lighter than just the Nutiden, but it's in the same color range. And most of all, compared to a mohair where you have a white, most of the time a white silk core where the mohair is blown around or is made around, in Titicaca you don't have much of that white hue. You see that it's not homogeneous. You have many shades in Titicaca, but it's in the same color realm as IRR for the Nutiden, at least. So I started to knit on Rebel, and it took me a while to go back to knitting that garment because I was kind of concerned that knitted was going to be hard to knit with my broken wrists. Turned out it was a bit difficult to knit with, but I had been through and I was past all of the, most difficult, if you can call it that way, or where you need more attention parts of the pattern. So it was a very easy knit after that. So I just had to pay attention to the yarn itself. So what I do when I knit with knitted, and this is what I have left of one of the plates, I do unravel several loops. I knit and I unravel several loops, and once again, so how much did I use? I guess I need to tell you that. So it used almost 3 skeins, 2.8 skeins of Titicaca and 2.44 plates or skeins of Holzgarn. So, and I had 3, so this is what is left, and there is a story I need to recall to tell you about. So I love Anchor Strict construction. I think it's the first pattern I knit from her. And this cardigan, you start at the back, in the middle of the cardigan, if I can place it correctly on the hanger. You start here. You need one side for the back. You need the other side for the back. Then you have short rows to shape the top of the shoulder and the front. The front and the collar are knit on by one. I'm not sure it's going to be easy for me to show it that way because this is the best way to show it to you for the light, but this is holding on my left hand and it's quite heavy. So I did knit per pattern instruction and I made it maybe a little bit longer. But once you have passed all the short rows and the shaping for the back, it's a very, very easy knit. I absolutely love this color. I love the effect on the back. The construction is perfect. And I did knit the whole sleeves on magic loop. So you see, I have said that I did not like magic loop, and I did default it to magic loop for knitting the sleeves. And so it just ends up with 1x1 ribbing. You have 1x1 ribbing at the bottom and no buttons. I love cardigans with no buttons because I don't like buttons and I usually don't make buttonholes, and if I ever had to make long time in the past buttonholes, I just find the way of the button through the knitting. I don't make buttonholes, and maybe I do reinforce the knitting around where the button has to go, but that's it. It's a very elegant sweater. So I think I have a picture of me wearing it. I'm not going to be wearing it today. The back is not shorter than the front. It's just the way it's sitting on my hanger. I'm not sure I like this. I've seen people do that. I'm not sure I like it. Anyway, so you have here the sweater, and I'm gonna be waiting once again for cooler weather to be wearing it. I love this color. It's gonna be a very happy color for the winter time. It's a little bit more on the cooler side, and I think cooler colors fit me better. And anyway, I absolutely love this cardigan. Will I make another one? There is no other reason I would not make another one in a heartbeat than maybe I need just one of them in my life. I do recommend the pattern a lot. I love it. The one of you who's been knitting with me is going to make the long version. I forgot to say there was a shorter version and a longer version. This one sits, I would say, below my hip. And And anyway, you will be making the long version that will go almost to your knees. And I do admire you for knitting that much on a sweater. But anyway, I absolutely love it. I love the touch of it. Titicaca, I was afraid, as it's alpaca, I was afraid it would give too much drape to the Nutiden, and I was not looking for drape with the sweater. It doesn't give any more drape than a mohair, and I've already knit Nutiden with mohair. It's no more. It's not more drapey. So if at some point you are looking for a fine gauge, less weight yarn to pair with something, and you don't want mohair, you don't want a white core, please consider Titicaca, because you see it doesn't change much the color of the sweater. It just gives it a bit more. You have a bit more marling. You can see the Titicaca at some point. But overall, it doesn't change the color of the sweater, even though the hue it's the same hue, but it's a much lighter tone, less saturated tone, and it did not change the color of the yarn. So I'm happy on so many counts with that sweater. The main one being that it was quite an achievement for me to finish knitting on it while I was, still recovering and at the early stages of recovery for my wrists. And I was knitting with my splints. I've shown them to you. I have custom-made splints that are, taking care of a lot of the pain in the wrist, other than just making it immobile and reassuring when I'm out of the house. And the physical therapist said that to her, splints are to be treated as pain medicine. I have to wear them if I'm in pain, and if I can take them out when I'm in the house, I can take them out. So it was after I had these splints made, my fingers were free and I could start knitting. So it took me quite a bit of time to go back to knitting on this sweater. I did start with that, with the blue t-shirt. But it was some way for me to encourage me to go back to knitting a bit more difficult things. And I was saying to myself, one row, just knit one row. And as you are knitting back and forth, I was knitting 2 rows and then stop. And then come back to knit 2 rows. And sometimes several times in the day. And I could finish it, and it did wait for me to wash it the same way the Sauvabelin did wait to be blocked, because I could not squeeze the water out. And once again, I place it on the spin cycle in my washing machine, and it did take out most of the water, and it did dry out flat. So a very happy knit for now, that I will save for colder days too. Okay, next and last finished object, a little scarf with a little hood, the one that are very popular right now, because one of you, as I said yesterday, sent me a truckload of goodies in a package, and that was full with yarn. I'm going to talk about it in a later video, but it was full with yarn, and in that package there were 2 of my kryptonites. I'm going to link the video down below where I talked about, it was a year ago or 2 years ago, about my yarn kryptonites, the one that I was itching to buy, and I was relying on my no buy at the time project not to buy them. One of them is not made any longer, so I had just said goodbye in my head to that yarn, and you know what? it was in the package. So I'm just so incredibly grateful. And there was another yarn also that was one of my, or the type of yarn that was one of my kryptonite. So it's a teaser for a later video. Anyway, in that package, and you said that the irony was not lost on you, because that yarn is a French yarn that you got in Australia. So it was shipped to Australia, and you shipped back to me. You are so generous. So it's a yarn. There was one skein of Merino Decay, if I recall correctly the name, by La Bien-Aimée. I mean, in the Vespa Graffiti colorway, I haven't checked if this colorway still exists, but I know I've talked about it on the camera. It's a little blue turquoise type of colorway. You're gonna see that. And the matching mohair in Vespa, I think Vespa, yes. So when I got the yarn, I did try to find a project where I would use most of the skein of the Merino Decay, and I did use it all but maybe 10 or 15 centimeters. So I settled on Mof Mof by Kaori Katsurada, and it's in the book of 50 Weeks of Accessories by Lane Publishing, by Lane Magazine. And it's that type of, you've seen there are free patterns, there are paid for patterns of little hood that have two scarf type of length on either side where you can tie a knot. And so there is a free pattern I was ready to cast on with that, but the sides are very long and I was not quite sure of how it would show with shorter length on the sides. So anyway, here is Mof Mof. And this color, once again, is everything. So this very, very happy turquoise, where you have speckles that are more on the greener side than on the blue side, it gives it, you know, kind of a greener hue, but the mohair, if you can see the fluff, you can see it here. The mohair gives it a touch of fluffiness and it blurs everything. It's absolutely gorgeous. So Mof Mof is that type of little hood with little scarves on the sides that you can attach. So you can wear it both ways, either as a little hood on your back with a scarf that is tied on your back. And you know, at some point I was thinking that every sweater should have its detachable hood. I think I made one by Torayu, once again, with yarn that one of the generously used gave to me. And I wear it a lot. I don't show it very much maybe on camera because when I wear it outside of the house. And when I go back home, I just remove it. So anyway, the little hood that you can place on your head if it's cold. And I really love these little hoods for one reason that is dependent on one of my coats. So you see the little hood here? My coat has my raincoat. It's perfect, it's completely rainproof and everything, and in Normandy I really do need that. But it has a very wide hood, just because it's made also for people to drive bikes with that type of coat and to wear the helmet under the hood. It's very wide, so either it goes out of my head, it doesn't fit, or it goes in front of my eyes. And there is no real way to tighten it up on the sides so that it stays on my head. Anyway, it's not comfortable. So I have to wear either a hat or something under to stabilize the hood, and this will perfectly fit the bill. It's quite hot around my neck. This color is absolutely perfect. It does go very well with the color of the Sauvabelin sweater. It does very well. It does go very well with Sauvabelin, and I think I will wear them together. Not with the not with Rebel. I don't think the raspberry and the turquoise is something that I would like to wear. Anyway, I really like this little scarf. The yarn is so very soft. As I said, I haven't checked. I will check before when I edit if Vespa Graffiti is still produced by La Bien-Aimée. I'm sure there are other colors that are close and matching, and if you want to make a little accessory, not necessarily a little scarf and a little hood like that, but a hat or just a scarf in that type of turquoise and very bright color for the winter time, it's really a good idea. So you start with the scarf part for one side and the other side. You have a cord where you catch up and you stitches for making the hood, and then you shape the top of the hood, and then you graft the two together. So maybe you can see my grafting, maybe not, I'm not sure. I think it's here. You graft both sides and to close the hood. It's a very easy pattern. It was easy on my hands. I did knit it with, I found it. 4.5 millimeters needles, US 7. So this is what I used. I used the same needle size. And I was praying to have enough and not run out, because I think this, I'm not sure this colorway is still available, but anyway, even if I was running out, I don't think I could have found, something matching color. As it's hand-dyed, the dye lots would be most probably very different. I have half a ball left of the Vespa mohair, so I have placed it with the rest of my leftover mohair, and I will see what I'll do. I like to pair to fade mohair on sweaters, so I may use it. So yes, another one of these very, very satisfying knits that could come to my life thanks to one of you, and I will never, ever be thankful enough. Okay, so that's gonna be it for today. My hair is dry, so I did retake a picture for the thumbnail. It's better than with my all flat and all wet hair. I'm kind of out of practice. I will see how long it will take me to edit the video. I hope you enjoyed it. And it usually takes me a day, not full time, to edit a 1 hour video. So I will see how it goes, and I will see when this will go live. Tomorrow I'm supposed to go to a yarn festival. I was going to drive, but I can't drive for now. And one of the owners of one of the little local yarn shops in my area is going and has offered me, and Ramses wants to come in, has offered me to take me with her. I'm going to have to open to him. When he's outside and when he wants to come in, he's in a panic because he's quite afraid. So she has offered to take me with her. We will share gas and everything. We will bring a picnic because there are some food stores, food trucks that are over there, but she said that she went last year and it was overcrowded and there was not much food for everyone, and the food was not up to par for her. So we will take the picnic with us and we'll see what happens. I'm not sure I want to buy yarn because one, you've sent me a lot, and I have new yarn in my life. So this just, satisfied my yarn craving. And second, as I have been out of work for 3 months this school year, these 2 months I'm on part salary, and the insurance that should complete my salary up to 70 or 77% or something like that. The department that takes care of that is out for the full month of June. I can't believe it. Anyway, so it's a bit more difficult for me right now, but I need a plan if I am ever tempted. So there are two things, and also I bought yarn for some of you. So there are two things that I have had my eyes on, and I have been willing to have into my life, or two or three things, I should say. One is a needle holder for my DPNs. They are just in the shagoo, sad little plastic bags that they come in with, and I need something to organize my DPNs. Maybe I will find it, maybe not. That's not a problem. And the second thing is maybe a hand spinner, a drop spindle or something like that. Maybe not, maybe. And the third thing is, as I haven't been knitting a shawl for quite a long time, I will be looking for something to make Herbivore by Stephen West. Herbivore needs 2 skeins of fingering weight. So there are some vendors from Belgium that by Night Creation, she is an indie dyer. She dyes with only natural dyes, except for the red dyes she used cochineal, so it's not a vegan yarn, but anyway, or vegan dyed yarn. But anyway, she has lots of interesting colors, more in the red and yellow and coral type of colorways. So I will see what she has, and she dyes on natural yarn, on non-superwash yarn. So I will see if I can find something there. If not, I will just be around and enjoy the festival. So I hope it's going to be okay, and it should be quite warm tomorrow. You see, it's quite overcast here. We've had heavy storms, that some of them were quite serious in the area and did make a lot of damage, and also for some people. So we'll see how it evolves. Tomorrow we should not have storms, and if it's overcast that way, it will be better than a bright, very, very warm sun. Anyway, so that's the plan for tomorrow. Next week, at the end of next week, is a music festival I've been going to every year so it's going to be the 12th year this year. I even went last year, even if I could not walk, I could not stand, I could not sit before the hip surgery. So I did very happily bought the tickets at Christmas time, or maybe it was in October, November when they went live. Last year there were maybe 150,000 people for 4 days, something like that. It's becoming a very big event. It's a very family-oriented event. It's a rock and electro festival. So, but the ambience, the set is really family safe, so I can go by myself there. With my broken wrists, I'm not sure what I'll be doing. Some friends have told me, we are going and we will stay with you. So we'll see what happens. We'll see if I will go for the whole day, or if I will do something like last year when I went to see just 1 or 2 concerts. Maybe I will be able to stay a bit longer. We'll see what happens, but I haven't sold my tickets and I decided I was going to go. So that's going to be for the end of next week and next weekend. So after that, we'll see. In my plans, I have 2 additional videos. One for my mindful buy, because a lot of yarn has came into my life. That's yarn, it is a really sneaky beast. So my mindful buy and my work in progress that I haven't, I don't want to record right now about what I'm knitting on, but it could give you some ideas. So anyway, there are these 2 videos I would like to be making. We'll see how it goes. We'll see how I can edit. We'll see how it goes live. In the meantime, I thank you so much for all the comments you have been making on my videos, for reaching out on Ravelry, on Instagram. Even though I don't use Instagram, I keep it for just for that. Just for that, because I know a lot of you are on Instagram. I do appreciate so much your presence in my life. You are present in my life, and you are giving me strength and joy and happiness, even when I could not be knitting and get strength and joy and happiness from my knitting. And when I started to be knitting again, I was thinking I want to tell them that I am doing what I am usually recommending to you. If you can't knit at all, maybe knit one row a day at a time, and it's still knitting, and it's still a path on to recovering and healing whenever there are some kind of surgeries. So anyway, you are so precious to me. You are so precious into my life. And I do hope you manage to find joy and happiness into your knitting. I thank you a lot for being here with me, and I hope I will see you next time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Top matter. I had started Rebel before my accident, and I was using, and I am out of tune because I forgot to take the yarn with me. I looked for Titicaca with the lady at my local store, and I think it's Camellia. I need to check. By Kaori, that have 2 sides that, or 2, how do you call these? How do you call that? And it usually takes me about a bit over a day or half a day to edit